Welcome to Gaslit, the power of story. I'm Tommy Hausman. Today I'm sitting down with Addison Hearrin from For Good Community. That's the number 4. A local nonprofit built on a simple mission: spread hope, love, and light. Addison and her team run the Kids for Good Center, and they operate the For Good on the Go bus that brings new clothing and essentials directly into neighborhoods. And they set up pop-ups with partners when a family needs bedding, socks, school supplies, or even a space heater. She's also launched Hope for Good, sending free toys to kids facing critical illness. But the need is spiking. Addison is hearing the same thing again and again. We paid the bills, and there's nothing left for food. Rising energy costs, inflation, and the SNAP disruption are pushing more working families to the edge. And nonprofits are straining to keep up. In this conversation, Addison lays out what has changed, what people are asking for the most, and how we can help right now, from shelf-stable food and funds to partnerships that get resources where they're needed the fastest. So this is episode 4 of Gaslit, and I am here with Addison Hearrin. And so you start what is it? For Good Community?
For Good Community, yeah. It was, I've been there since the beginning. I didn't necessarily start the idea, but I've been here for the past 5 years from when we started to where we are now.
So what do you do? Who do you serve? What kind of programs are you involved in? What do you got going on?
For Good Community's mission is very simple. It's to spread hope, love, and light. We make it very simple, very broad for a reason, because we want to be the resource for anyone in need. So we are very open door to whatever the needs are. So we work with big companies to get our hands on any kind of resources possible, because we know that there are always people that need resources that we get in. So our main job is we get these resources in and we think, what can we do to get these into the hands of people that need them? So we have our various centers. We have our Kids for Good Center. We have one here in Evansville, and that is a free resource to any kid in our community. We have clothing. We have, school supplies. We have different toys and different household items, beddings, pillows, things like that. And we have our For Good on the Go bus, which travels all around Evansville to different events. We partner with tons of other local organizations. And that is a retrofitted school bus where we have racks for clothing, brand new clothing, usually from places like American Eagle and Biore, for people who may have never had access to new clothing. And we can also fill up half of it with brand new Amazon resources that we have as well to hand out through the community.
Right on. So you're on the front lines of this increased need, right? So can you maybe share about some of the stories and some of the things that maybe you've heard about how families are struggling right now with this increased utility rates, inflation, and even SNAP not being available in a couple days?
Yeah, so that was kind of the main reason I even, contacted you in the first place when I saw these posts. Was I see rate hikes and I see just overall survivability of people in our community becoming more and more difficult. And I think back of the hundreds of messages we get on a weekly basis of people asking, we need food, we need clothing, we need, we have to pay our bills and we just have nothing left at the end of that. So what can you do to help? And we've always been one of those people, or one of those organizations that really want to be able to make that difference for everyone that reaches out. But we've just seen increasingly more and more and more. I think some of the more heartbreaking ones are families that are like, we never thought we'd be in this position. We set ourselves up as, what you should be doing. We got a good education. We went to college. We got the jobs. We're a double income household. And then bills hit and, medical bills hit and things like that. And then it's all gone.
One bad day, one bad week, and then everything changes.
One bad day and we need groceries we need to be able to make it to the next paycheck before we can get that. So I think some of those stories are the hardest because that's where I can see myself in of like, so far I have been able to provide for myself. And with every utility increase hike, with every medical bill, with groceries rising, it's been like, okay, this makes things a little more difficult, but I got it. And seeing more and more people in that scenario, it is really hard. There's also a family that had 4 kids, and she had recently lost her husband, and he was, the breadwinner. He was the one covering a lot of these bills and things like that. And not only is she not having to take care of all of that, but it's also, things are so much more expensive than she ever realized. He tried to protect her from a lot of that and give this good life to their kids, and, it just kind of slapped her in the face with, wow, this is unattainable. And I can't believe we were ever making this work. And now I'm having to make this work as one person, providing for these kids. So it's stories like that. We get them every week. And that's something that is really hard for me because you just want to tell these people that are in charge, that are making these decisions. It's like, don't you see these people? Like, don't you see these faces, especially the children that we see on a weekly basis with no shoes or shoes that don't fit and clothes that don't fit and vehicles that barely run when they come to visit us. It's like, don't you see how people are struggling? Like, don't you want to do something to help? And you have the ability to. It's just hard for me, I think, to process it all.
I completely understand. It seems as obvious as the nose on your face that we just need to fix it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make any sense. It's not sustainable. And people are getting hurt. And it just, in our normal everyday lives or interacting with students or helping people, we see somebody hurting or in need, we try to help. We give what we can. We do what we can. And we just don't see that from everybody that's in charge of
Mm-hmm.
everything at the top. So what specific pressures are you seeing on people that you serve? I mean, what are they really in need of? What are they asking you for?
I would say a lot of it is, we have paid, the mortgage, we have paid the bills, and now we are left with nothing. And the most important need then is food. So that is definitely the big one, which now with SNAP benefits being all wonky up in the air, they're not coming. That has made it almost like this state of emergency for us because we're getting so many influxes of, we've done everything we can to make the bills happen, to make the mortgage happen. And now we have nothing left to feed our families. And that was already really hard on us. We were trying to do as much as we can. And now we can see it's probably going to get twice as bad, if not even worse from then. Unfortunately, we are not in the position to have that monetary ability to help people with bills. So we've seen more and more of an increase of people asking for help with those things. And it's just something that's not possible for us. And just kind of in the organizational sphere that we're in, we do work with resources. We don't have a lot of funds. So we do have a lot of ask for help with bills and things like that. But we try to send them on to the resources that can help. So I know these organizations out here that do help with bills and things like that, I know they are just the same boat that we are and just getting flooded more and more as time goes on with more of these requests. As not only we send them that way, but I'm sure just everyday people come their way as well.
So even though you're offering resources, what people are asking for is help with their bill and food. And we talked about food a little bit when you got here. It doesn't, you don't always seem to have available like food to give. Sometimes you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have seen in the past probably 2 to 3 years since we've been providing food is just more and more scarcity on what we're able to get. We do work with food sponsors, but like I said, this past week we have 2 semi-loads of chips, which is awesome. It is food, but it's not sustainable. You can't just feed your family with bags of Doritos. So while we're lucky to have our sponsors and have these donations, um, it breaks our heart to know that we can't do more for all these people that are in need and coming to our doorsteps. We've had times when volunteers or employees take the money out of their own paychecks and they go out and they buy things to help these families that are just completely broken. They are desperate and need help. So it's even resorted to those things sometimes because we are people. And when we see these messages come in of people in need and their kids are in need or elderly in need, it's like sometimes you can't walk away, even if you don't have the resources at hand to help.
I think just being here today and sharing those stories, I think we just need to share that and tell you are a resource center, and the two resources you can't offer are what is being asked of you the most. So let's spin this around a little bit and try to put a positive spin on it. What do you have that you are able to help and you're able to provide for the people that are coming and seeking help?
Yeah, so we try to give people these opportunities that maybe they haven't had before. So some of our awesome sponsorships, the resources that we do have are new clothing, new socks, new bedding, resources like air conditioners, heaters, lawn like lawnmowers and weed eaters and things like that. We've able to get our hands on like some really awesome resources, vacuums and like little robot vacuums and robot litter boxes and things like that. And it's so awesome to give these people that come and see us like an opportunity to have things, but maybe were never financially feasible because of how much money goes towards just basic necessities. So it is awesome to really put these really cool resources in the hands of people that need them. So we've got just an awesome array of new clothing, new resources, a lot of household materials that we are able to bless people with almost on a daily basis, and that.
And I think that helps. That
Mhm.
that's really important right now because these are the things that sometimes we don't often think about. Like perhaps if you were able to not have to spend money on some clothes, maybe you'd have some money for food right now. It's still a big assistance to not have to be burdened with everything when everything is just more expensive right now.
We also have a really awesome sponsor for furniture. So we've been working closely with like emergency management with a lot of the flooding that's happened locally, fires, and just families who are starting out with nothing. We get a lot of requests from people who are leaving domestic violence situations, and we are able to bless these families with new mattresses and couches and dressers and a lot of things. Like we said, we want to spread hope. So maybe we don't have everything, but we do have these items to where we are giving people in tough situations enough hope to hopefully make it through and see a lot of these hard times through.
And you've said that you have seen an increased need for these resources.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So with that increase in need, I mean, with your own cost and your logistics and your capacity to respond, has it affected that?
Yeah. I mean, it's all the way around. So one of our hearts is for disaster relief, people who at one point had everything and then they have nothing. And we're seeing so much more. So we already have half our staff out right now assessing different disaster areas. So that leaves the few of us that are here to assess this immediate need that we're having in our tri-state area in Evansville of food, um, of monetary things with like bills and everything, with clothing. So we're stretched thin. We have our resources not only physically but also financially spread across the country trying to help people that have been affected by disaster. And then we're also trying to sustain what we have here at home. That is just doubling almost what feels on a weekly basis.
So you're telling me that when families come to you that they're telling you these stories about the trade-offs they're having to make.
Mhm.
So maybe there's even something that you mentioned when you first came, and we were talking before the show started, was something about Halloween costumes.
Yeah, so we what's uh a lot of times is what happens with businesses. They sell off, the Halloween costumes they have, and then they donate all the rest to us. So we've had all these Halloween costumes locked away this week, and this week we were able to put them out in our resource centers and our Kids for Good centers. awesome Halloween costumes, some with price tags of up to like 40, $100. And we are so excited to see those go into the hands of children and people in our communities who maybe don't have that financial ability to buy Halloween costumes that fit their children this year.
So the resources that you have available and the partnerships that you have they stepped up to help you respond to these needs? Have you had more people offer assistance to provide resources to you to get them into the hands of people that are in need?
I think it's hard because we're not only seeing this here, but we're seeing it on a national level of everyone is struggling. So I think there's ultimately more need, which leads to more competition in the nonprofit space of like everyone has these people that are having these immediate needs. So um, well, I'm not sure exactly like how much we've been able to get more and more from our sponsors. I do know that they probably are doing the best they can to assess all the different needs of everyone around the United States right now. We have really dove down to more and more of things that we don't normally do. So reaching out to local companies, local grocery stores, our local Walmarts and things like that of like, please, like we really have a lot of people and we really need your help. Like if you're able to give us any kind of discounts to help buy this stuff, if you're able to donate anything, we really need it. And that's not something we've had to do a lot of. We've had enough before. And when you have so many more families coming, when you have so many more families that need children's clothing, when you have so many more families that need food, it leaves the shelves so much quicker at all of our centers. So not only is it harder to get these things because there is so many people in need. When you do get these things, they go immediately because there's so many people that have this need.
Have you found yourself collaborating with other not-for-profit organizations in the area?
So we work with so many awesome not-for-profits. One of our favorites is CASA. We've been working a lot with their preschools, so getting resources out to the kids and the families that are visit or have their kids in a lot of these low-income preschools and resources like that. So we know a lot of families, they have that pride, but they're still struggling. They're not going to reach out to us directly. So while we are trying to help everyone who reaches out, we're also trying to make sure we're getting to those families who maybe haven't seen themselves in that rock bottom position of I need help, but making sure that they have that hope and those resources as well. So we've partnered with a lot of awesome churches, a lot of awesome organizations to set up our resources alongside theirs so families are able to get all of those resources at once.
So is there an opportunity here and maybe a call out for to make connections with maybe our local resources or people of means? I mean, how can people that are of means or small business or just regular everyday folk contribute to what you guys are doing?
Yeah, I mean, people can reach out at any point, whether you're a business that wants to help, whether you're people that want to volunteer, whether you are a nonprofit that's interested in some of our resources, and maybe we can benefit from some of your resources as a trade off. I would say our immediate need right now, like I said, we just got 2 incredible large shipments of chips in, but that doesn't feed the family. So if there is anyone out there that has, you know, canned beans, canned chili, chicken, corn, things that can make these chips into a meal for families, we would love to try to work with you to get these resources into our food pantry that is free and open to all so we can get more of these resources out and really help these families that come to us.
So do you have is are the faces that you see, are they repeat faces, or are you seeing a broader a range of people coming and asking you?
We do have a repeat, and it was like that for years, but it's been probably within the last year where we're seeing so much more, where we're posting like about events and we're getting thousands of people responding to these things because people are willing to drive 3 hours, I think is the longest I've seen, just in hope of waiting in line for hours to get resources for their families, to get food for their families at some of the big food events we've had. Um, we are just seeing such a broad span of people coming from really all over within the past year. And like I said, every week it's just more and more and more and more.
And the collaboration that you do have with their existing relationships with not-for-profits, are they experiencing the same thing from your point of view?
Oh, yeah. So I think one of the biggest ones right now, we work very closely with the Salvation Army, Toys for Tots, and their program this year where they have families sign up for Christmas help. So we're getting into that season where people, they spend a lot of money towards Thanksgiving, they're spending a lot of money towards Christmas, and we alone are getting so many more requests of people needing help with Christmas, needing help with Thanksgiving, groceries, and things like that to still try to make this season special for their family. And they're just not able to make that happen this year. And we try to work really closely with Salvation Army because they have an awesome program in place of getting toys out to these families. So we try to donate toys to them when we can. We've been trying to donate our time. All of our staff will be paid to be there volunteering for them when that time comes because they do have so many families signed up for this program because there is just more and more this year that these families need that help with Christmas. So we are open to collaborating with anyone who's putting these resources out here because what we maybe don't have, we are willing to work with you if you are making that possible for these families.
So let's say we someone's listening right now and they're in need. How do they contact you?
My email is Addison, Addison, at forgoodcommunity.org, and that's the number 4. You can find us online. It's forgoodcommunity.org, again, with the number 4. And I am here in the community, and I am here to help. I answer every email, every Facebook message, every bit of communication that comes in goes to me. And I will personally do my best to make sure any need, every request is met.
I was scrolling through Facebook today. I've noticed that in our community, people are really stepping up, donating money to food for food, buying food, trying to find places to take food. They're trying to find ways to support one another. When we know SNAP benefits are getting ready to go away in a couple of days, we know we have these increased utility rates, and we know inflation is just nipping at all of us.
Mhm.
Is there any advice that you have to everybody that wants to help of how they can help and where they should go and how they should go about doing that? Because I see everybody trying to do that right now.
I would say get people together. I think that's the best way to do it, combine resources. So one awesome thing about us is we do have our For Good on the Go buses. Again, these are empty buses that are ready to go into whatever community they need to go in. So maybe you do have food that you want to hand out. Partner with us. We'll load all of this up on the bus. We'll load all of us up on the bus and we'll go directly to these communities. We'll set up and we'll get these resources out. My mom, specifically, she has seen the Facebook post. She wants to help. So I've, donated some chips to her and she's going to fill the need of other items that can help make those chips into a meal. She's going to build boxes and we're going to do something very similar where we're going to take that mobile. And what's awesome is we have a very big following on Facebook. People do know that we have resources. So a lot of people who need those resources are on our Facebook. We can get the word out. We are able to take that bus wherever, all over Evansville. We've done it before, hand out clothing, hand out food. So partner with the nonprofits that already know the people in need. Work with people and organizations like us. We can help get any resources you want to offer into the hands of the many people here that need them.
So before we wrap it up, are there any specific needs that you need right now? I mean, is there something that you guys are in need of to fulfill um, that people are asking you for? And are there any other programs you have going on right now that you really want to highlight before we close out?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest thing that we see ourselves without is food. Like I said, after the bills are paid, after the mortgage is paid, people are left with nothing. They need food. That's the immediate need. We will accept food donations. We will accept monetary donations that I can use to buy food from a lot of the companies that we do or that we work with here locally that will give us discounts on a lot of food to buy them since we are that 501(c)(3). And one of our biggest programs right now that we would probably want to highlight is our Hope for Good program. So that is our newest program. It started in May. And what we do is every month we are shipping out a free toy to kids who are facing critical illnesses in our community and kind of all over the United States. And that was inspired by a little boy here that we met. His name was Miles, and he had several rounds with cancer before he ultimately passed away. And we just saw the light these simple items brought him, and we wanted to make that available to kids just like him all over. So that's our newest program. We would love to have volunteers to come see like how life-changing this program is for a lot of kids. It makes you feel so special to pack up these little boxes and send them out to them. So look us up on our website. We have so many awesome programs. If you want to help, there's so many ways to do that on there.
Addison, I really appreciate what you do. I appreciate you coming on Gaslit and filling the gaps of these stories about how everything that's going on right now is affecting everyday people. And it's so important to get this story out. And I love that you are there. It makes me feel better that you're there. So I appreciate you and thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you for just being a voice for so many people. I know so many of us feel so powerless, and just like I said, there's so much power in collaboration. You know, you've got this voice, you've got this podcast, you've got all these people to rally behind you, and we've got resources, and there's other people out there that have resources. It's going to take all of us coming together in Evansville, offering what we can to really protect our people and take care of them.
You hear that, everyone? Addison says, share your story, work together, and we can make a difference. You're not alone. Before we close today, we're handing the mic off to our neighbors. You're about to hear first-person accounts, first names only, about what rising utility bills and higher costs are doing inside real homes in and around Evansville. These are unvarnished, everyday realities. Seniors cutting medications, parents choosing between the car payment and the light bill, families watching assistance funds run dry. We'll hear from Joanna, Fran, Julie, and an anonymous parent in a family of 8, Courtney, and we'll end with Brittany. If you have a story, send it. If you have resources, bring them. And if you have influence, use it. Share this episode, show up for each other, and support the local groups bearing this load, including For Good Community.
Joanna says, I have a teeny house, 1,068 square feet. It was updated before I moved in 7 years ago, and I've had 3 months of electric bills higher than $400. I've always kept my eye on my bill, and up until this year, I've only seen one $300 bill. It was $400 once, but we had company for a month, so it's understandable. Normally, my bill is about $250 during the summer and closer to $150 in the winter. We had a $450 bill just 2 months ago, then $550 last month, and this month is $417. It's ridiculous. I have to choose between paying the electric or my car payment. Fran says, my husband and I are retired, and our home is 900 square feet. I personally lived here. It was my parents' home my whole life. Our bills have steadily gone up since Centerpoint acquired Vectren. In the summer, it usually runs about $175 to $220, depending on the weather. This summer, it has been $400 to $500. We leave our thermostat at 72 degrees. January to April, it was $400 to $600, and our thermostat was at 68 degrees. We have had assessments on our home to see if we could do more to conserve energy. We had a tree hit our home, and it has been rebuilt with all energy-efficient appliances, extra insulation, and new windows and doors. We have LED lightings, and we turn all the lights off at night and just watch our TV. We are at a loss trying to figure out what we can do to conserve energy. We are on Social Security and are wondering how a company that has a monopoly on energy is not held accountable for their continued increase on rates. We need help, but more importantly, all those struggling with paying bills to maintain a safe and comfortable home for their families are in peril. Prayers for help. Julie says, my dad's lived in a house 45 years, 900 square feet. He's the most simple, frugal person. His bills never ran over $125 for decades, setting the thermostat at comfortable temps, summer or winter. Now he's averaging $350 a month, but he's sweating and freezing with thermostat set at uncomfortable temps because it's too expensive to stay cool or warm. One senior citizen, 900 square feet. He doesn't even use the stove or oven. He only cooks with an air fryer. One lamp on at night while he watches TV. No dishwasher, no washer or dryer. He goes to a laundromat and he shuts 2 unused bedrooms off so his square feet used is way less. He stopped his heart medications because he needs money for Centerpoint. He only has Social Security. From Anonymous, we are a single income family of 8 in a 2,100 square foot. We have electric, everything, but our water heater is gas. We homeschool, and usually people are home all the time. But we've done all the things we can do to keep our energy usage low, especially since our bills went up to $675 a few months ago. We're pretty vigilant, too, about lights and temperatures, appliances, open doors, etc. Just yesterday, I got an email from Centerpoint saying my usage was projected to be 48% higher this month than last month. Nothing has changed in our house. Last month's bill was $488. So we got it down a smidge. But we can't keep this up. My husband has a decent job with a big freight company, but it's not enough. Between Centerpoint and our other utilities, they end up being as much as our house payment. We realize we are blessed to have a good job, but even we are struggling with these energy bills. I feel ridiculous for even complaining because I know others are having a harder time, but we are not going to be able to keep up with these bills going forward. Heaven help us if there's a cold snap this winter. We will probably have to keep our heat down to a minimum just to keep the pipes from freezing. We don't qualify for assistance as far as I can tell, so we are on our own. We feel demoralized. I get anxiety every month when the bill hits. It feels like no one in Indianapolis is listening or even cares. We're discouraged. It all feels hopeless. We have medical debt and loans, and we can't put back any kind of emergency funds because Centerpoint is taking everything and then some. Thanks for taking our stories and shining a light on this horrific situation. From Courtney, I wanted to reach out regarding Centerpoint, and I certainly have a story. Just went through the disconnect process, which was not an experience I wish upon anyone. And that in itself is a whole story. And while I will follow up with the full story later on, the short of it is I inherited a home after a very unexpected death in 2020. I took out a loan to make the home efficient. I replaced all the appliances, added insulation, had electric rewired, replaced the windows, the HVAC, and the water heater. Yet never had any effect on lowering my bills. When I finally called, I was told it was accurate. More accurate than ever before since switching the meter. And while I make a great salary and work remotely, I have health conditions that require medication, and I cannot seem to keep up with the $400 and $500 per month it costs to keep the lights on. I do not live outside my means. I've never even paid for cable in my adult life. Again, I'm happy to follow up. Whatever you need. Thanks for all you're doing.
Hello, my name is Brittany. I moved to Evansville in the summer of 2022. I had taken a job promotion up here, and I was over the moon. This is big city for me and my family. We come from a small area in Tennessee. I remember when we first moved up here, we moved into an apartment complex, and I remember thinking, wow, it's a lot to get your electric and stuff cut on. And because I found it very odd. There's a lot of use of gas up here. Or back home, it was very rare you'd run into a house with gas. But even in our apartment complex, we had electric and gas, and of course everything was set up through CenterPoint. And I told myself that's why it was more expensive, and it was dual utility. And from the moment we've moved up here, we've had our electric set up on auto pay. It's came out every month. There's been a couple of times like we've had to change our cards out because they've expired. But other than that, it's always been taken care of. We've moved to the house we're in now, and even then, we didn't really have any issues. Well, I'm recording this now in my house at about 7:30 in the morning. I have no lights. I have no heat. I had just bought a couple of weeks worth of groceries, which is quite a bit of money. And that's all being stored in my deep freeze with some bags of ice, and just hoping and praying I can get something figured out before the end of the day. Probably still will have to throw, stuff away. But I came home yesterday from work, and everything was shut off. I hadn't gotten a call, an email, a notice in the mail, nothing. And I immediately logged into the app to report an outage, and that's when I saw that I had a past due balance. And I'm like, well, maybe we've just had a lot of family issues going on this month, and just a lot of people in and out of the hospital and some deaths. So I was like, well, maybe it just didn't come out this month. Maybe because we've had to use extra funds, traveling, and so I'm thinking month behind. No, I log in, they say they have not received a payment from me since July. And I immediately got on the phone with customer service. I'm checking my bank accounts, and no, they have not received a payment from us since July. And when I am talking to the customer service representative, who also lives here in Evansville, and without saying too many words, agreed that we're not doing well here in Evansville at all when it comes to our CenterPoint bills. He told me, he doesn't know why, but this is what's owed, and if I want lights and gas, that's what I'm gonna have to pay. And at that moment, I was telling our friend here that made me feel like I was standing in a courtroom and had just been sentenced to death with no trial. How do we deal with an electric company that's like, oh yeah, that's probably on us. We should have let you know something, but sucks to suck, and you just have to deal with it. There's no other options, or you're just gonna have to pay it. Mind you, my husband, we both work jobs that are above minimum wage. We both work for local businesses. He works in Newburgh. I work here in Evansville. And we're still paycheck to paycheck, with the price of our groceries and our utilities. And then, we both have to have vehicles for work. So then there's car payments on that. There's full cover insurance on that. We're paycheck to paycheck, and we're no frills in between. We might go out to eat one night a week just, so I don't have to cook, or, I've worked late or he's worked late. But for the most part, we budget every dime. And for them to say, you owe on almost 4 months worth of bills. No, it's 3 months. To say we owe for 3 months worth of bills. I just don't understand, Is it on me for not paying attention? 100%. But that's what I get for trusting the system that, has worked for all this time. And like I said, for some reason my payment failed in August. I said, well, I didn't get an email or anything. And they said, yeah, we didn't send anything. I'm like, then how am I supposed to know? If I am just in the routine of just letting it all, handle itself, because that's what I've set it to do, how was I supposed to know? And was pretty much told, they can't budge on it. It's a 4-digit sum that I have to come up with before I will have electricity again. And there's no other options. So, of course, even the CenterPoint employee, he's telling me, reach out to your trustee's office, reach out to these charities. And, how crazy to sit here and have your electric company go, sorry, you can't pay your bill. You should probably reach out to a charity. Why are we having to say that to your customers? Evansville has been very vocal about our distaste with CenterPoint. There's not a single person I could walk up to right now and say CenterPoint and them not just, go into, their bill or a customer service interaction or just something, And anyways, I reach out to the trustee's office, and, they are great and they will help, but, they're limited. They're only able to help with the last $200 that would be owed. There's, a laundry list of documents you have to print out and have. Luckily, it's you can walk into their office Monday through Friday, and you have those options. But you do have to show proof that you have the remainder of the balance before they can pay that last $200. So, they were like, here's a couple of charities here in town, which I reached out to both of those. And by this time, it's late afternoon, because this was after I got off work yesterday. And a lot of these places, they're only open 2 or 3 days a week. And most of the time they're closed pretty early in the afternoon. I think one stayed open till 4. But at that point, it was too late, And I completely understand it. You have to work with the budget and the team that you have and are allotted, and it's not anything that they can help, But then when I hear back from them, they're talking about their funds are depleted. Honestly, a lot of places are depleted. And they say 2 of the biggest factors is CenterPoint energy bills and the upcoming, SNAP benefits being not funded. And, people are really panicking right now. And it's just crazy to hear charities say, we're depleted because people cannot pay specifically their electric bill, their CenterPoint bill. And what does that say as a community when our community resources are depleted? Like, that's the word they use. They use the word depleted over people not being able to pay their energy bill. And I feel like this is something that is affecting all classes here in town. I hear it. I work a job where I work with, all different kinds of walks of life, and there's one thing they all agree on, and it's that Centerpoint bill being outrageous. And I don't know. My next options was I took to a few Facebook groups, posted, kind of what had happened. And the scariest part of that is all the comments that I received. There was everybody going, the charities can't help anymore. There's not really anywhere to get help anymore because they've ran out of money. And everyone, commenting their similar experiences, people saying that they have been similar issues as me, had their auto pay. And apparently over the summer, they did change their online payment software, and that a lot of people had issues at that time. I saw people talking about being double charged. I saw people talking about, just similar situations. They've got these high bills after not receiving a bill for a few months. And then they've got these high bills and they're like, too bad, so sad, got to pay it. And we're all just like, I remember one comment was very much just someone saying, yeah, we're all in that situation. And it's outrageous that a whole community, we see our small businesses actively holding events in protest of Centerpoint. You see the news even talking about how they're having private meetings and they won't allow the public to attend. There's something going on here that needs to be corrected, because when a whole community is suffering, there's got to be something done. There's got to be another way. We've got to ask the questions of, what can we do about it? Because we've been trying to help each other, and it's just gotten to the point that we're all, like that lady said, we're all in the same situation, and there's no help anymore. Yet they're still, draining us dry. I did see one charity say that, they had partnered with Centerpoint and that you could get up to $200 in assistance. But one of their stipulations is if you're disconnected, you don't qualify. I went to the website and was looking into seeing what documents I would need, and it straight up said, if your service is already disconnected, you do not qualify for this assistance. And that's rough. That's rough. I didn't have any heads up. None. I had no clue. I came home from work and I was sitting here in the dark. And I was apologized to, but what does that fix? Not a thing. We as a community need to come together, listen to each other's stories, and we've got to come up with a call to action. Something has to be done.